The water in the baptismal font ripples as my 8-year-old son steps down the stairs, beaming with excitement. His white clothing seems to glow, and I can see my own childhood reflection in his eyes. As his father, I'm about to baptize him into what we believe is God's one true church on earth. It should be one of the proudest moments of my life. But beneath my smile, questions churn like the disturbed water. In his eyes, I see pure faith, the kind that moves mountains and parts seas. In my heart, I feel the weight of generations of belief and the crushing responsibility of either preserving or disrupting that legacy. I'm Brother Buzz, and this is Study Faith with AI. Everyone, please remain in your seats. We're experiencing severe turbulence. The airplane lights flickered frantically as 100 wide-eyed children clutched the edges of metal folding chairs arranged in neat rows across our church gymnasium. Then, darkness. Screams. The sickening sensation of falling. I regret to inform you that we've crashed, announced our primary president, her voice unnervingly calm. You've all died. I was 7 years old when my church leaders killed me and 100 other Mormon children in a simulated plane crash. What had begun as an exciting promise of a trip to Hawaii became an elaborate object lesson on the Mormon afterlife. For weeks, our primary leaders had promised a special Hawaii luau. I came that Saturday in my brightest shirt, ready for tropical fruits and games. Not once did I suspect that death was on the itinerary. The pure shock on my face must have been something to behold. One moment I was munching on airplane peanuts. The next, I was a soul in the Mormon afterlife, being sorted and judged according to the plan of salvation. Our primary leaders were creative, loving people who genuinely wanted to make eternal truths accessible to children. They didn't see their creativity as frightening. They saw it as inspired teaching. It is kind of hilarious. And the Hawaiian luau that awaited us at the end, their version of the celestial kingdom, complete with fresh fruit and paper lays, was their way of making heaven tangible to young minds. With the uncomplicated faith of a child, I accepted their vision of God and the afterlife without question. But even as we moved through a simulated final judgment, some part of me wondered why only Mormons can go to the highest degree of heaven. But I pushed those thoughts aside. When adults you love and trust explain the cosmos with such certainty, even through crashed planes and sordid souls, you learn to silence your doubts. You learn that paradise awaits those who follow the rules and accept the framework, no matter how strange it might sometimes feel. After all, they always bring treats, and who wants to miss out on the fun? I'm Brother Buzz, and this is Season 2 of Study Faith with AI, Beginnings. Looking back at my childhood in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, several themes emerged that shaped my early spiritual identity. First, there was the profound sense of belonging. I was the middle child in a large family far from Utah, yet I felt connected to something larger than myself. The songs we sang in primary weren't just music. They were declarations of identity. I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I know who I am. I know God's plan. Second, there was structure and sacred routine. My father served as bishop, my mother in the primary presidency. Sundays were set apart. Church clothes stayed on after services, television remained off, and nap time was followed by scripture stories. In that quiet, reverent space, I first felt warm, safe, and loved. Third, there was the certainty and superiority of absolute truth. We understood ourselves to be special, members of the one true church. The filter through which I viewed the world was simple. Church things were good, most worldly things were bad. My childhood mind sorted everything and everyone accordingly, giving me a framework for understanding the universe that felt complete and unshakable. And fourth, There were the early questions that even my young mind couldn't fully suppress. My grandparents, whom I loved dearly, weren't members. Their absence from our faith troubled me deeply. Where would they go after death? How could they be such good people while rejecting what I had been taught was the only path to salvation? And would their deliberate rejection after learning the truth cause them to go to hell? How could a loving God design such a system where good people might be eternally punished? My world contained these puzzling contradictions: good people outside the church, rules that sometimes seemed arbitrary, a God who loved everyone but saved only some. But children are resilient. We adapt, we compartmentalize, and I wanted to be good. I wanted to be the best I can and live with God again. I memorized the articles of faith, learned church doctrine, and projected my life forward. Eagle Scout, mission, temple marriage, eternal family. The path seemed clear because faithful adults had mapped it out for me. Just stay on the covenant path. I remember thinking, life is short, eternity is long. If this is God's truth, why wouldn't you give your all for an eternal reward? In that simulated airplane crash, we all died together, and together we found our way to paradise. There was comfort in that collective journey, in believing we were all headed somewhere beautiful, guided by those who knew the way. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find the way. Teach me all that I must do to live with him someday. But for each of us, there comes a time when the lights of faith-filled childhood innocence begin to flicker. Our spiritual plane hits turbulence and either recovers or descends rapidly. As we put on our oxygen masks before assisting young children nearby, we ask ourselves, who's flying this plane? What's going on? Then comes the announcement from the cockpit. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. We apologize for the bumpy flight. We'll land in the celestial kingdom shortly. At this point, you casually pull out the emergency landing safety card from the back of the seat in front of you, hoping not to alarm your spouse and kids. You never thought it would come to this, as you ask yourself, I wonder if this plane has parachutes. In Season 2 of Study Faith with AI, we'll explore the beginnings of Joseph Smith's life. What forces shaped his life, his worldview, and his path to the sacred grove? What impact did Joseph Smith's earliest days have on his path from obscurity to prominence? Get ready to dive deep into the foundations of Mormonism. I'm Brother Buzz, and this is Season 2 of Study Faith with AI, Beginnings. If you find value in this exploration, please like, share, follow, and consider becoming a subscriber. Your contributions help keep these conversations going and allows us to maintain the highest quality production. You can find all the details at StudyFaithWithAI.com. Thank you for being part of this journey.